All right, welcome everybody. Today I'm here with Ricky Semiglia, longtime friend. He was also my jiu-jitsu coach for a while I lasted. And he is the owner of Mattix Jiu-Jitsu Academy, right?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ricky, for coming on. I know you're someone that I've always found very interesting, great friend. You know, you were able to be a high-level competitor in jiu-jitsu and at the same time run a jiu-jitsu academy, and that's something that's not easy to do for sure.
No.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to get your thoughts on what got you into jiu-jitsu originally before we get into your business and your competitive.
My history is funny because there's a lot. So to try to paraphrase everything, back in the day, I had two really close friends that they did jujitsu, and it was something that they were doing and they talked about a lot. I never got into it as soon as they did, but they always tried getting me into it. I was more into working out and stuff. I was working out a lot. And then one time I finally went because they convinced me, and I found it really interesting. I wasn't so sure if it was something that I wanted to pursue, but I remember that at the time, the instructor there, Sensei Ismail, I'll call him Sensei for easier to remember than Ismail. The Sensei, he gave me this deal, kind of like 6 months. If I stay for 6 months, he'll like significantly help me out financially with the membership. And at the time I was young, I remember I was working at Boston Market, my only other job that I ever had. And I was working at Boston Market. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. I was kind of hesitant in the beginning to like devote myself to something that I wasn't sure I wanted to stick to. I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
But I remember I took it and I said, I'm going to do this for at least 6 months. So I started doing it. And then I remember 6 months in, I wanted to train more, but my job was not letting me. Boston Market, because of the schedule. Boston Market was a pain in my ass. I hated
Boston Market life.
Yeah. It's funny because they just closed down the one. Indian Trades. I was the one.
So
that
what'd
I
you do
worked
at Boston Market? You put potatoes on people's plates, shit, or?
Pretty much, man. I put potatoes on people's plates. Sometimes I was the cashier, and that was like the best one that I can be.
Okay.
And sometimes I had to be the dish boy, cleaning dish.
The struggle.
Yeah, it was a struggle. But I remember that I told Sensei that I wanted to train more, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you just start working with the kids?" And he wasn't going to be able to pay me as much as I was making at Boston Market, which wasn't that much. But I was still like, I'll be making money while teaching kids.
Better than Boston Market, right?
Yeah. And then it was interesting because teaching, I was always kind of like outgoing, I guess, charismatic. I wouldn't ever consider myself shy too much. I remember that teaching kids that are like half my age and sometimes even more, it was really intimidating. It was something that was really new, but I definitely I liked it. I wanted to be good at it. I knew it was going to take a while to be good at it, but there was something about teaching that I really liked, and that really paved the path for everything, really.
So why'd you think it was intimidating to train kids? You didn't want to break them? You didn't want to like give them a bad foundation? Like, what was it about training a kid that?
I just remember being like I said, I didn't consider myself that shy, but I remember when I had the responsibility of teaching that.
Okay.
It was even though it was a kid, I was afraid of like of trying to teach. I don't know if like I was conveying the wrong message to them or if I was teaching them incorrectly. So I usually let Sensei run the course. I would copy him, but it's something that I think teaching is definitely something that I love. It's what I love the most, honestly. I do compete now because I'm young, but I really like teaching, and it was something that I wanted to pursue. And it was interesting how everything worked out because 2 years, I would say, maybe after, because I started doing jiu-jitsu at 17. It was 2009.
Yeah.
I think like maybe a year and a half or two, like I applied for FIU, which was the college in South Miami, and I got accepted. And I wasn't planning to go to college, but I got accepted. So I'm like, why not? And then I remember that I went in with the idea that I'm going to try to look for a degree that's going to allow me to pursue jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And I remember I went there. It was with a friend that I went to the gym, and I was wondering if there was a jiu-jitsu club, and there wasn't. There was another club. I'm not going to mention the name for
Yeah.
People don't connect the dots, but there was a club there that they did offer some jiu-jitsu, but it's
Yeah.
not what I was looking for. I was looking for pure like jiu-jitsu, and
Yeah.
there wasn't anything. So I kind of like wanted to know if there was a way that I can make it happen. And the people there, there were some documents I had to sign, like 8 signatures, and I got some people just to sign it. And I just wanted a place to train. I wanted a room with mats, and I got it. And then
I was about to ask you that. Why'd you want to do the club? Was it to train more, or because you were looking to start a business? And
honestly, when I first did it, it was just to have a place to train, because I knew I was going to go to school, and school was going to interfere with my schedule training wise. So I found it to be convenient if there was like a way that I can train on campus and then continue going to classes and stuff, because the gyms have showers and things. So
wait, in 1 year, you were able to be so like involved and so deep into it that when you went to college, that's the first thing that you were thinking about is how am I going to train? Because a lot of people would just be like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you know, I have this obstacle. I'm just going to focus on school and my career, whatever. But that wasn't your mindset.
What I find it's funny, because that question is interesting, because it's the weirdest thing, but the way that I did it in jiu-jitsu and the way that I was able to succeed in it, I wouldn't encourage other people trying to take that route, which is it's really strange to say, because everything kind of worked out for me. Like everything just kind of like fell in place for me. And a lot of it was with guidance. It was Sensei, the guy that I mentioned earlier. He really was a big part of my whole entire journey, because he helped me he gave me a lot of freedom. Like he allowed me to teach the jiu-jitsu classes in his school at a young age, you know, not a young age, but early in my career. And, you know, a lot of instructors won't let you do that. So, you know, and to be honest, if I had a student that was just training jiu-jitsu for a year or two, I wouldn't feel so comfortable. You know, so the fact that he did that, I'm very grateful for, because it kind of like allowed me to try to teach really early in my career. And but yeah, I would say like it was probably like around 2 years that I did that. And you know, like I said, I just wanted a place to train. I wasn't expecting to be teaching. And, you know, when I started training there, people would come in and they would be like, oh, can I roll with you guys? Like, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So then they wouldn't know anything. So I would start to like teach them. And that was really where teaching adults started for me. Because I taught some adult classes at the academy. The academy I used to be at used to be called VProK.
Yeah.
For Victory Professional Karate.
I remember.
Which was funny, because there's a big story with that, with the whole ranking system, and I'll probably get into that later. But it was confusing, because I don't know, with jiu-jitsu it takes approximately, like on average, it takes like 10 years to get your black belt. So to get your purple belt, I would say it takes about 5 to 6 years, maybe 4 to 6 years. I actually had my purple belt under the VProK system. But I'm brand new to martial arts, so I don't really know the ranking systems and anything. So I wore my purple belt, and I wore it in jiu-jitsu competitions and stuff. And it's funny, because like I competed once as a purple belt right when I got it, and it was no-gi, it was a naga. Back in the day, you had to be a purple belt, from what I remember, to join the no-gi advance. And I guess there was one guy there. Apparently, I mean, the guy wasn't probably wasn't that good, and I beat him. So, you know, I'm walking around like, oh, I'm good.
You're a tough guy, huh? You're hot shit.
I felt like I was a purple belt, and so I continued my whole journey like that. And then I remember when I started the club, I was wearing my purple belt, but this is a 2-year purple belt. That's not, you don't really hear that often. And it wasn't an official, it really wasn't a jiu-jitsu official purple belt, because Ismail had his own system, Sensei Ismail, VProK, and he wasn't a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He had just started training jiu-jitsu, so I didn't have an official ranking, but I didn't want to go back because of the fact that I had already competed as a purple belt. So I practically never really had a legitimate blue belt.
Got it. So you beat one purple belt and you got it.
Pretty much. But that was the only purple belt that I beat for a long time, which is funny, because you know, I was so new to the world that I didn't know the skill level. I didn't know, and I really shot myself in the foot there, kind of.
So you thought you were the purple man of the year. So you got the bell, you beat one, you're in there, you're in the money.
Back to the academy. I had Naga. It was a Naga belt at the time. It was And it was like funny. I was excited.
Flexing on the gram and everything.
Yeah, but there were people in the industry that are like definitely like kind of like especially like the club that I didn't want to mention. That became kind of like a pretty big obstacle on the way there because they were not happy at the fact that I was starting to teach jiu-jitsu on campus. And rightfully so, you know. I don't agree with the way that the guy who was running the club approached it. Yeah. He was, for lack of a better term, disrespectful about it. And he was pretty much threatening me to close down the club.
Really?
And at the time I was brand new. This guy was a brown belt under a credible black belt, a really credible black belt. And I was like, shit, it's not like I was scared. I didn't want the stress of that my first semester in college. And Ismail, I didn't think I was going to cancel the club. And Ismail like talked to me. He's like, you're not going to cancel the club. So I didn't cancel it. I just told him, you know what, like do whatever you want to do, but this club is going to continue. And I'm still teaching there up to today. It's my 8th year actually teaching there. And but what's cool about that story is that guy later on, we actually met at an open mat. It was funny because it was awkward at first, and we actually rolled, and then later on, we actually hashed it out. So I found it to be a pretty.
Did you give him the business? You gave him the business?
It was a fun roll.
You gave him the business. You gave him the business. All right, we'll talk about that.
At that point, I was already pretty good. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I got into teaching adults, and then I fell in love with teaching, man. But then, you know, I really fell in love with competing as well.
Nice. So then you started the club, and then how did you get people? Would you just roll people to come in, or would you like promote it? Would you talk to people? Would you do like special events, anything like that?
Yeah, I was never really good with social media or marketing, but jiu-jitsu is something that, like, if you can see it, it kind of promotes itself. So like we were in the FIU gym. We were in a room that had windows. So while people were working out, they can see us train. And when people can see us train, some people will come in. Every now and then we will roll in like the center of the school. It was called a pit, which was like a ground, so that people can understand that there was jiu-jitsu in school. And so like that's how we would get most of our people. But we were very limited as to how many people we can have. And in the beginning, we only had twice a week. Now we have 4 times a week. But I can only have like 30 people on the mat. So I wasn't too big into marketing because I wasn't going to be able to fit everybody anyways. But I got to see like every year, and I think I'm rounding down, I see at least 100 new faces. And I'm happy to do that because I feel like when I teach jiu-jitsu, like I'm teaching it in a way that's going to make you see yourself doing it for a long time. You know, I think that's the way you got to teach it because jiu-jitsu is complicated. So you try to get good at jiu-jitsu quick, it's not gonna work out for you. So.
Got it. So you started the club, and then did you start an adult class at the academy right away? Did you wait a little bit, or how did that turn out? Because you were just teaching kids at one point at the academy, right?
Yeah, I was when I started going to college. I got a job with a school in Key Biscayne, and I worked with them for a few years, and you know they were cool, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to do jiu-jitsu, and over there I was teaching more karate, and this guy had his own system, and I'm thankful for some of the things he did, but it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted jiu-jitsu, and I wanted to have jiu-jitsu everything, and I left off. I stopped training at Ismail's school for a little to work with this guy, but then I will go there and I'll teach some jiu-jitsu because he would continue a jiu-jitsu class. And every now and then I go, and then I wanted to, at the end of my college career, like my 4th year, I actually took an internship in Brazil. And I stayed there for about like 5-6 months maybe. And there's where kind of everything started shifting, like me having my own school and stuff. But that was definitely a big part of my whole entire career, going to Brazil.
So was training in Brazil different than training up here?
Yeah. That was a big turning point in my career. It was funny because I remember I was going through kind of like a mental struggle with the ranking. It started to become stressful because if I wanted to be a legitimate instructor, I had to have a legitimate ranking. So Sensei Ismail joined an association. This guy's named Pedro Sauer.
Yeah.
And if you know jiu-jitsu, you know Peter Sauer. This guy's amazing.
Yeah, of course.
And he's actually the guy who gave me my black belt. I'm super proud to be one of his his black belts. But I got my official blue belt with him maybe like 4 years into jiu-jitsu. But I didn't tell anybody, you know, I just got the blue belt just to have the certificate, but I still like, go from purple to blue. Like I didn't want people talking and saying, like, you know, sandbagging and all that stuff, it's a big thing in that industry. But I remember when I went to Brazil, the reason it was a big turning point is because, you know, that whole entire flaunting that when I won the purple belt, you know, I didn't compete as I do now, but I thought I was better than I was. And Brazil really, really showed me. Like over there in Brazil, like the schools, like when you're a black belt over here in America, I noticed that a lot of people when they get black belt, they get it's very entrepreneurial here. They want to have their own schools, they want to have their own teams. Split. And of course, there's certain schools here that a lot of black belts stay in the same team, which is really cool. And that's what I want, hopefully in the future.
You guys are gonna get there, bro.
Yeah,
dude. I go in there now. There's a bunch of purples and. What is going on here? Like I remember when this was just whites and blues and then you know purples. Man. Now you're like 4. I'm like, God damn.
It gets me so excited to think about it, man.
It's crazy, bro. It's scary. Like it's like, damn, there's like 5 people that could kill me. Like that. Like easy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So you went to Brazil, and are they more aggressive or are they just more technical?
You know, I find Brazilians, if I had to say something, I think that Brazilians are they try to kill more. Like they go for the kill more often. So they're more aggressive offensively. I think Americans, they're like their defense, their defense is a little smarter and the counters are a little smarter. But Brazilians, they go for it. So it's like really admirable. And it's like the way they train, it's like that too. Over there, there's no air conditioning over there. Training session every day, you have all these black belts in the same school. You know, you're training with a bunch of black belts. And then, you know, I went in with the purple belt. I did, you know, and I wish I didn't. But
so they put you up against the purple belt or what?
No, I mean, you have this American kid here thinking he's going to do good, and he joins your school. They're like, let's tear this kid up, and they tore me up.
So you got humbled a little bit in Brazil, right? And then you came back to the States, and then what? What was your plan? What was your deal then?
I remember coming back from Brazil, and you know, I did the internship over there, but most of it was training jiu-jitsu. So I was working at a gym where the jiu-jitsu club was there. So I was doing jiu-jitsu every day. So that was really the point where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, pretty much. And when I came back, I remember I didn't want to go back to the old job that I had. I wanted to continue like kind of down a jiu-jitsu path. And I spoke to Sensei Ismail, you know, and he told me that he was willing to let me start my own program there so that I can just completely take over the adult program, which I was really stoked about.
Yeah.
Excited to do that, and then I'd be able to generate some revenue, and like that would be my income, you know, through certain formulas, and you know, that's what I did. And then it started first, like I started with a few people who maybe there were some people from FIU who joined the school. There were some people that were there already, and then you know, there's it just started to grow nonstop. And then I remember it was 2015 where I officially made that team, Mattix.
What year?
2015.
15.
Yeah. I don't know if that's when Mattix. I'm trying to think if we came up with that name the next year or what, because I remember we were still V-Pro K, but I wanted a name that was more jiu-jitsu-y. So,
jiu-jitsu.
You know, and I mean, Mattix is not really jiu-jitsu, but it stands for Matt Addicts.
Right.
That's how I came up with the name. So, like, we're addicted to the Mattix.
That's clever, man. That's clever. I like that.
So that's what happened. So then I started my own team pretty much, and yeah, you know, everything was pretty star-crossed for me. So
so you started your own team, right? And then what's the best way to attract clients? Were you attracting your program by just winning and competing, or were you also doing other things like marketing online or anything like that? How were you able to build it to the size that it is today?
Well, I mean, my competition career didn't really start getting so good until like around 2000, the end of 2016, 17. So I wasn't competing as much, and to be honest, I wasn't winning the competitions I was going to. I didn't do too well, so like that was like where I started realizing it was Brazil when I realized, wow, I need to get better if I'm going to
Yeah.
be representing this belt. There was even a guy who told me, he's like, dude, you're not a purple belt, and I was like, wow, that was pretty.
Damn.
That really made me think when I came back, and then I started thinking about my lineage, like what was I going to do. So I definitely decided to stay with Peter Sauer, and I think that the experience that I gained from teaching at FIU, I was able to convey technique in a way that people understood. So I was able to get some people like that. And then when I started to compete, I wanted to be a good competitor. Like I really wanted to do that. And once I started to compete, is when people, I guess, started to recognize me, and then people would bring their friends, and friends would talk about it. And 2017 was the biggest year because I set a goal that year. I remember I made a Facebook official in January because I didn't go back on it, but I had promised myself that I will compete at least once a month, and I definitely complied with it. I competed sometimes 3 times a month, and every single month I competed, I was able to do it. And that year I actually won a majority of the competitions that I did. And then it was at the end of 2017 that I got my black belt. So that whole entire like competition streak, and then I got my black belt, and then I wanted to continue that competition streak, but in March it came to a halt because it didn't really come to a halt. Actually, it should have come to a halt, but I ended up popping my rib.
I remember that.
Bad, yeah. And then I remember it was
Then it was your hip, right?
my hip. Yeah, my hip. It happened like a year later. That was weird. That went away, thank God. But like the rib was terrible because that was when I was at the peak of the competition, and I was doing this thing called the UAE JJF, where they fly out. It's like a gi tournament that they do every 2 years, where they fly out some people to Dubai if you qualify for it. And I was going to the tournaments that will qualify you for it. Well, and I had one tournament that I had to do in London because the other one was Australia and Brazil, and it was really expensive. I wasn't going to do it. And I remember the week prior to that, I had popped my rib, my floating rib, to the cartilage. And I remember I was like, thinking back, it was pretty stupid, but I told myself I was going to go no matter what. There was kind of like people had sponsored it, so I already had everything paid for. But looking back, I don't recommend anybody ever trying to do that. But I remember that right away in the beginning of the match, like I told myself to stay on top, but then they tried to sweep me, and in the process of coming back up, it like re-popped out, and it was like, that sucked. And then, but then from there, like the competition started getting heavy because it was also my first year as a black belt, so the competition got a lot heavier.
Serious, yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a comeback, a pretty big comeback.
Awesome. So then you kept growing the school, and because I remember when I was there, man, most of the people were white. I think this might have been like late 2016. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But now everybody is, most of the people are blue and purple. Now, how does that make you feel when you come in? I know you see it every day because you work every day and you come in, but like, do you ever think back and just look like, damn, like half of these people are, on their way to getting a purple belt, if not already there?
All the time, man. It's like, it's like blind faith because I started, when jiu-jitsu, the Mattix started, I was a purple belt. So, you have a purple belt and you're trying to create your own team. And in South Florida, the competition is heavy. You have so many good schools around here that it's like, is it going to be possible to do this? So like, so I remember because, the way that we do tests, we get everybody there and it's like a big test. And I remember like our first test, it was like all white belts. And then there were some people from other schools that helped support. And it's like, wow, man, I can't wait till like in the future, those belts start to change colors. And now you see blue belts and then purple belts. And, last year I ranked my first brown belt, Matt Bago. Amazing person. He's moving to Slovakia, but
Matt's the man.
We're going to open a Mattix in Slovakia, which is interesting.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's in the plans.
That's awesome.
And then So that I have Justin Cummings. I have that girl Jessica who got her purple belt last month.
Mm-hmm.
She's incredible, man. She is so good. And then yeah, so I can't wait till I have my first black belt.
Yeah.
But I know that it's gonna get big.
Yeah. So talk to me about while you were competing. Well, yeah, while you're competing and of course training, and at the same time teaching. Do you think it affects you for your competitions, the fact that you're running a business too? Do you feel like you would be able to do better if you just solely focus on training instead of also running a business? Because you're
I,
teaching kids, grown-ups, you're dealing with parents, you're dealing with, money, you're accounting. It's a lot.
I do, and that's a question that I probably will never be able to answer because I never. I'm pretty sure if I dedicated everything to training and I was training with high level people, that I would probably have a more, I guess, successful. I don't know how to say it, but a
Yeah.
successful competition career. But although like I was teaching, it was my source of income, and so I was able to not only make money off of it, but I was also training every day. And
Oh, I see.
me teaching, I definitely think if I was doing training camp and training heavy with, it could be different. But teaching to me, I've heard somebody say this before, I don't know who, but teaching is to me the best teacher because, especially
Yeah.
me, I think that I'm not a perfectionist, but I don't like to say something and not know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So it's like when I teach technique, I want to. If you ask me a question and I don't know how to answer it, I'm not going to make something up. I'm going to have an answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
So focus is like the way that I look at jiu-jitsu. I'm really big when it comes to fundamentals. Fundamentals, sometimes people look at it as like a boring word. To me, it's everything jiu-jitsu, and I'm big on fundamentals. So it's like everything, there's an answer to everything. The thing about jiu-jitsu is that there's infinite amount of questions, but there's always a way to answer something. So and I think that like I've reached a level where you can ask me something and I'll have a response to it. I'll be able to have a legitimate response to it. So the fact that I'm trying to be like the best teacher I can possibly be, maybe that's what pushed me to the level that I'm at as a competitor. So it's a hard question to answer because if I was a competitor and training and somebody there as an instructor just there every day making me train, maybe I'd be a different kind of monster. But I just like teaching. I don't see it as a hindrance when I'm preparing. Now that the guys are purple belts and brown belts, they're great training partners, and I teach people consistency. I tell them to come all the time, so they eventually start to adapt to my game. They create their own game. We have people in our school that like to attack the feet, and people who like attacking back or like things. So they like like I don't like quoting people that much, but Bruce Lee, he's a good instructor, somebody who teaches their students to the point where they can teach themselves. And I think I was able to do that with a lot of people. So
that's awesome.
I find myself being taught by some of the people that I taught, which is like that's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah, I think definitely teaching definitely helps you too in your just overall IQ of jiu-jitsu because you're always getting questioned, right? So I can see how it could also help you big time, in a competition, and because you've been in so many different positions. Because not only are you solving your own issues, like in your own positions, you're solving other people's, problems that they've been struggling with, whatever, when they're training. So you got all those brains that you're training, kind of like making yours better. So
and I constantly have to adapt because my guys are getting smart. So if I start doing something too much, they catch it, and I have to change my game a little bit. And we have a lot of good training partners at Mattix. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So, man, I got to ask you, man, how are you adjusting to everything that's going on? I know your school was rocking and rolling. Before all this happened, I was there for your last test, and it was packed, man.
It was.
And so how are you adjusting to all this?
I think a day later, I don't think that could have happened.
Yeah, bro.
I got messages that day like, "Hey, are you sure about this?" And I'm like, "Man, the kids are testing today. Well, they were testing that day, and the adults were testing that day." It's like,
I was nervous, bro. Going in that day, I'm like, "There's no way I'm training. I'll show up. I'll sit," but I'm nervous out here.
Yeah, you messaged me. I remember when you messaged me. I was like, I don't want to hear this. I don't know. It gets me a little nervous, but
I would have done the same though, bro. It's a test, like everything's still relatively new and uncertain, and nobody really knows what to do. What have done the same. And I don't think anybody got any.
No, everybody's
Okay,
fine. Everybody's fine. And but the way that I'm adjusting is really the doing virtual classes, and it's been what's been able to keep people there. But I don't know how it's going to go next month because virtual classes are not even close to being there. So, I'm just going to be, doing it week by week pretty much, and whatever happens, happens. But once this is over with, hopefully, jiu-jitsu is something that you can get back up on your feet quick. So I'm not too nervous about that. But I do hope, what I am nervous about is that this lasts a lot longer than we want it to. That would be scary, but play it week by week pretty much, be optimistic.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And kind of like what we were talking about before we got on, I think a lot of industries are, have similar issues right now, right? So many different barbers, nail salons, any service-oriented business where you got to be within 3 feet of a human being, it's going to have to make a huge adjustment. It's almost like the Netflix to the Blockbuster. I feel like that's what's happening right now.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, with my situation, our school is a little bit on the smaller side.
Yeah.
We're like 1,300 square feet, I would say. But I think about schools that are big and they have a lot of students. Like, man, that's
man,
really unprecedented.
What are these big gyms doing? Like the top team in Coconut Creek, what's going on? Like, you got all these big camps, like the UFC camps. Are they still training with each other? You just hitting punching bags? Are you getting tested with a few people?
You can't. The other day, and my school is in Davie. The other day, I was doing a virtual class, and at night, maybe I was being a little bit reckless. I don't know, because I had my lights on at night, and in the plaza, none of the businesses are open. But a police officer came and told me that I couldn't do what I was doing. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? I'm trying to run a business. I mean, I'm not offering services here. I'm doing virtual classes. They're like, no, as long as if you're in 6-foot contact with somebody, you're not allowed to do it. And if somebody comes here, they're going to give you $1,000 fine. And I was like, what? So,
So you were training with somebody, a person?
No, I was doing videos. I was doing virtual classes. Yeah. And I asked the cop the next day, I was like, can they do that? And he's like, no, I mean, it should be fine. But, if somebody calls the police, he's saying that somebody probably called the police driving down the side and they're like, oh, his business is open. That's not fair. So, I just bought these blackout curtains and just block the window so you can't see inside. So I don't have that problem again. I'm not being irresponsible. I'm not having classes or anything, but
right.
The virtual classes and whoever's there. I mean, since we did the virtual class, we'll roll. I can't not roll. It drives me nuts. So, but we're doing that as responsibly as we could. But no, these schools are not able to operate. Especially at ATT Coconut Creek, they're not able to operate. If they are doing it, it's it's
on the low.
On the low, I think everybody, not everybody. I don't want to speak for everybody. But
everybody's doing it.
We're trying to figure out ways to do it. I think people who train jiu-jitsu every day, I can't stay home, So if somebody's healthy and we're both healthy, I don't want to talk too much.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to give away they're watching, man. You don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. But man, I miss training. I used to train every day, man. I'm not kidding about it.
So what are you doing with your time? I know you're doing virtual classes, but what else are you doing to stay occupied?
I'm keeping myself busy with the virtual classes. So I would go there, I would think about things to show. I started a YouTube channel.
Oh, nice.
So I've been posting videos there daily, kind of, and then I'll do the virtual classes based on the video, so that after we do the class, we look at the video if you want to remember what we talked about and things like that. And then I have Q&A days. Nice. We have a pretty full schedule because, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned it here before, but we're collaborating with another school.
Oh, you are? I didn't know that.
In Pensacola.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So it's his school and my school. There's all of our students attending Zoom meetings, and we have 4 or 5 classes a day. So it's pretty cool because I get to teach people who are not my students, and then he gets to teach my guys, and it's cool. We're also offering like community courses, like yoga,
Oh yeah.
for people because and also gym back jitsu. But to me, a situation like this, somebody who's stuck at home and doing nothing, or maybe they work, like to me, it's crazy if you're not keeping yourself active.
Yeah, you
You
have
have to
to.
keep yourself active. And it's like if the yoga and the gym back jitsu is a way to get them to be like, hey, maybe I should start doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And, we'll see how that goes.
So
Hopefully,
what's gym back jitsu?
Gym bag jitsu is where you stuff a duffel bag with a bunch of stuff, and then we do like jiu-jitsu drills. Or you can create your own dummy. So like I created my own dummy pretty much. There's videos out there how to create your own jiu-jitsu dummy. So then we create the dummy, and then I give you a video how to do that, and then we'll do like a 45-minute workout, like hip throwing the dummy or doing arm bars on the dummy, back escapes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's not as fun as being there in person.
Yeah. Hey. So what do you think this is gonna do to like UFC fighters? Do you think it's gonna make them like worse? You think it's gonna give them time to recover? Like if you're, like thinking like a competitor, right? Like an athlete, like you gotta be a little, freaking out a little bit because I'm sure you can't do the same trainings that you were doing before all this started happening with the virus.
Yeah, when you're at that level competing, like I think you find a way to make it happen. Maybe you can't do group classes, but you and what's happening in the UFC. You saw that Dana White was trying to get his own island and stuff.
Yeah, bro.
That was nuts.
Bro, he sounded so confident in his videos, and then he posted the third one. He's like, yeah, Disney, I love them and everything. They're great, but I just can't do it right now. My business partner. It's like, oh, man. He's so pissed.
I was stoked about that. I was excited about that. I was like, no way. But it's crazy because I'm not a big mainstream sport watcher or something. My brother is. I live with my brother.
Yeah.
And, he's used to watching sports all the time. And you can't watch sports anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it
is.
Just the UFC cards that they had, when this thing started, like everybody was watching that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got ESPN Plus, and they have like the breakdown with Daniel Cormier. Dude, I think it's so cool, man. How they break down a fight. It's the coolest thing, man.
You know what I'm gonna market right now? Flow Grappling, man. Flow Grappling has been awesome. They have been they've been doing like this 24/7 like streaming where they like just interview a bunch of people, and it's just like really interesting people.
Oh, yeah?
And it's fun to fight. It keeps you interested. If you're a grappler.
Yeah, I know Flow Grappling is huge with wrestling too. That's how I know Flow Grappling.
Yeah, there's Flow Wrestling.
Yeah. And like the commentators, man, they're pretty good, man.
Yeah.
They get
Ben
into
Askren, Ben Askren was commentating the last.
Oh, really?
I forgot what is it called, but it's like when the colleges competed. It's fun to watch wrestling, man.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
So, how do people find your virtual coaching? How does it work? If I'm interested in getting coaching, how do I just contact you and go from there, or is there a website, something like that?
Yeah, it's still kind of like a project in the making because I was expecting this to be just April.
Yeah.
Part of me is still hoping for that before we can open up to like certain amount of people, but I doubt it. But if it is looking like May is going to be a complete shutdown for non-essentials again, then I will start to market it out on my websites and my social media.
Okay.
Yeah. But as of now, we're doing it for our students, and then again, like I said, if next month we have to do the same, then I'm going to probably be putting it out.
Awesome.
But yeah, that's how it is now. I was actually looking at some Flow Grappling matches. I actually typed in my name. It was like 2 matches.
You got a couple matches in there?
Yeah, but those 2 did not go so well for me.
Oh, so nobody searched that up.
You can search it. It's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
There was one that I remember. It's this guy named Herbert Burns, Durinho's little brother, Gilbert Burns. He fights in the UFC. Herbert just got a contract with the UFC too, which is pretty cool. Nice. But that was 3 weeks after London. when I caught my rib.
Rock your rib. Jesus, bro, you don't like to rest.
No, but you know, I
Dude, it's
wanted
cartilage.
to. Yeah. I wanted to, but the thing is that it was for a promotion that I really liked them, the Fight to Win promotion, because they really help out their athletes. So I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I did cryotherapy for like 3 weeks nonstop, and then right before the match, I took like 4 or 5 Advils.
Adderalls.
No, Advils.
Oh, Advils. I'm like, Adderalls.
No.
I don't know what that's going to do, man. It's going to hype you up, man.
That would have been a crazy match.
I know.
But yeah, I was looking at that match, and then it was a pretty epic match between him and I.
Nice. I'll take a look at it. How much is a flow grappling? Like $5, $10?
No, it's expensive.
How much you talking? You talking about 20, 30, bro?
30.
Goddamn.
Tell me about it. It's like 30 a month. I'm an idiot because I subscribed once because I wanted to watch this match that was going on only on Flow Grappling. I'm like, I'm gonna do that just a month. And I ended up like, this is cool. I'll just do a second month. And I ended up doing the third month, and I was like, this is stupid because a year is like 120 or something like that, or 130. I don't know. So it's better to do the year, but they get you.
They got you slipping in that free trial.
But yeah. And then that second match too that I saw was pretty with Enrico Coco. But it was cool just to go against these guys because these guys are people I looked up to when I was growing up. But Coco put me to sleep, man.
Oh yeah, damn.
Do you remember that, or were you in the academy at that time?
I don't know. I don't think so. Was that the worst time you got like submitted, or what's the worst
I've never
one?
been put to sleep in my life. Like, never. Even when we were in middle school and people played that stupid game where they put each other to sleep, I can't believe people did that.
I remember that.
But it never worked on me for some reason. But I've never been put to sleep, so I guess, like, but it was terrible because I had, my girlfriend was there, my family was there, I had like 30, 40 students there. It was at least like 50 to 60 people there, or like something like that. And I remember because Coco got me like a head and arm, but it was weird because it wasn't completely in. I was like this, and I guess he was pushing on my armpit, and he closed the artery. I don't know what the hell happened because I remember having a dialogue in my head about like, okay, I don't have to tap to this, And then I remember I just opened my eyes, and I'm just like jamming out to the music because after you lose,
jamming out to the music.
And I woke up and I was just like this, and I look up and everybody's like,
you're out there jamming, and they're like,
so that was hard to swallow, but definitely a fun memory.
Damn. So it was a head and arm, like a darce, or what was it?
It was an arm triangle. So like,
okay.
So, but usually your arm has to be here for that to work. And I was like this. I was like open completely. But I think, you know what, everybody gave their theory about what happened, but my thought was, I remember before the match, I was so hyped. I was going, like, my heart was pumping. I wanted to get there. Like, I wanted to run in, but I'm not that kind of person. But I was ready to go. So I think my heart was beating too fast.
Yeah.
And because my heart was beating too fast, I fell asleep quicker than I normally would have.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'd never been put to sleep before. It was weird. Seeing it, like, in video, it sucks because it's a flow grappling for everybody to see.
Damn.
But at least I put up a fight for the time being.
Yeah.
Look at I'm doing a freaking podcast. I'm talking about how I lost.
Hey, you said it, man. You said it, not me. So have you ever, what's the worst submission you've done? Like, have you broken someone's arm? Have you put someone to sleep, twisted a knee, pinky?
No, I'm a big armbar guy. So I would say, to me, like I get arm bars and bow and arrows. I'm always getting like bow and arrows for some reason with the gi. But typically just arm bars and bow and arrow. Nothing too flashy or anything. But that's usually how I finish. I remember one of my bigger like fights that was pretty impressive. I guess it was like 4 years ago. I went against this guy in the absolute division. And it was cool because I had gone against a black belt from a good school around here. Yeah. And I didn't think I was going to do well with him, but I caught him in a triangle, and I was like pumped. And then my next match was this guy that was 276 pounds. This guy's arm was the size of my body, man. And I was like 155 or something like that.
276?
276. And I was just like, damn. but I got the best of him. I played the clock on top of him. He was trying to escape, and then I ended up rear naked choke, and that was like one of my best moments, I think.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
It's a big boy, man. 276. So what? You just trying to get him tired and then catch him late?
Yeah, because the rule set was the first 4 minutes there was no points, so I didn't have anything to lose. There's no point in trying to fight in the first 4. And then so I tired him out, and then when they said points is when I started like trying to get points. I wasn't expecting to submit him, but then when I took his back, he let me sink in the choke, and having his big ass hand like that was the best feelings in the world. It's like, I'm not an explosive like kind of person, but that day when I won, I was like, rah! Like,
you hit him with the LeBron screen.
It just comes out. It just comes out.
That's what it's all about, bro. It's all about getting that tap.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a little glimpse of my life.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you for all the knowledge and all the stories you shared with us, man. They were pretty awesome. And yeah, man, ups to you and your business and your competitive life, man. It's inspirational, to do so many things at once and be so good at both. So thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on and sharing with us, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. You're an awesome person to be doing these podcasts, man, because you used to be my personal trainer. We used to work out together. I remember I used to talk to you a lot. You're good at listening and talking, so doing podcasts is definitely a good thing for you, man.
Thank you, man.
Doing what you're doing, man. You're awesome.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Man, for sure.